we asked the question, what effect does this have in lactating cows? So we ran a study, again at the University of Queensland. We had 13 black and white dairy cows. We had two groups in that 13, an odd number as it turns out. We had 3 in the control group and an N of 10 in the test group, the group that was supplemented with our product. The study period was 24 weeks, mid-lactation really, because we were starting at about 63 days in milk with the study. Both groups of animals were individually housed again, and they were fed a standard TMR diet. We looked at how much feed they ate, dry matter intake, and we measured milk production, somatic cell counts, all the normal health observations, feed intakes, live weights. And all the animals, not surprisingly perhaps, they were individually housed. They were in healthy condition right throughout the study period. The results quickly, we found that the group that was supplemented with our probiotic produced around about 0.8 litres of milk per day more than the control group. It's about a 3.3% difference. That's good, with an increase in productivity. And we also found that the somatic cell count was lower, even though it started very low in the control group at 53,000 cells, and most people would say I'd be very happy with that. The test group dropped even further to an extremely low level. Now remember, this is an individual cell count number here and then average. It's not a cell count from the vat, which takes into account an extraordinarily wide range of individual cell counts. So that's good. We have an effect on the somatic cell count, we have an effect on production. So we're pretty happy with this. So our conclusions are that if you administer a probiotic like ours into a mixed ration diet, admittedly, you can get a lift in milk volume and a reduction in somatic cell count. And that's two good things from a dairy farmer's point of view. We found one of the things I haven't shown you there is that we also, I did mention we measured live weight. The animals ate the same amount, but through that mid-lactation phase, the animals that were supplemented with the probiotic didn't lose weight, whereas the control animals did. Not surprisingly that the control animals did. Most people would say during that phase you lose a bit of condition in your cows. We found that the supplemented ones didn't lose that, at least as measured by live weight, did not lose that condition. Now that perhaps isn't so surprising, because when I go back to this and I talk about this term metabolomics, all we're looking at is the metabolites in the rumen fluid from the cattle that we were able to measure. So you can take a sample of rumen fluid and you can look at the metabolites that are in that fluid. And I'm just going to run through this quickly. It's not important that we work out how we did this, it's more important that we learn from what we found. And we could find in the animals that were treated, there were more short-chain fatty acids, volatile fatty acids. These are the things that they get to the liver and they're converted into energy. That kind of supports that finding we had about the lack of, well, we didn't see a reduction in the live weight of the animals because they had more energy to burn whilst they're producing, and a high cost and high energy cost, also producing milk. We also found a difference in the plant-derived metabolites. And the only way that they can be in the rumen fluid is by something happening to the plant material that the animal's eating. And that we interpret as showing that there is a difference in the way that plant material is digested. And you remember that I talked about the enzymes that these bacteria can produce. So this in part supports that finding that we know that there's a difference in the enzymes that are produced, and they then those differences manifest themselves by finding a difference in the plant-derived metabolites in the rumen fluid. Therefore, that plant material is being digested differently, and we think better, more efficiently, ultimately resulting in the things we find: a lift in productivity, a maintenance of live weight. So what's next? We've got a very big study going on on a commercial dairy farm in southeast Queensland, looking at larger sample sizes, because some people say, well, I'm not really prepared to jump with 13 cows, and I understand that. So we're looking at more of the productivity, milk volumes, milk quality, and so on. We're looking at all the health benefits. So we're monitoring everything from lameness, mastitis, reproductive success. We're completing our metabolomics and transcriptomics investigations. Transcriptomics is really just the transcription from the gene code, the genes that are coded, through to actually producing those genes, the proteins the genes code for. We have some tissue culture work going on looking at immunoglobulins, so the things that are there as part of the immune system, and we're also looking at anti-inflammatory substances. We're working on the development of a dry form of Mylo, because Mylo at the moment is a liquid product, and we want to be able to help people deliver it in a dry form. We're currently looking at pellets, not granules. We might look at both. And we've got other product development activities going on so that we can deliver more products to people.